Hello and welcome back. This is the Level Up English podcast, the best place to come to learn the English language, practice listening to the British accent, and hopefully have fun as well with me, your host, Michael Lavers. Today, I want to talk all about dreams. I want to talk about this topic of dreaming. And I think there's a lot we could talk about here. I'm going to be covering my own experience with dreams, some common meanings of dreams, what they might mean, perhaps even why we dream. I don't know, we'll see where it goes. I've got a few things that I'm planning to talk about though, and this is another topic that's kind of based on one of my previous group classes. And I kind of feel like I don't mention this enough. I don't know, maybe I do, but I teach group classes once a week. You know, I do get questions quite frequently about teaching private classes, which at the moment I am not doing. But if you do want to learn with me, I do teach group classes. And I'm not going to say the most, but I think it's probably one of the most affordable classes that you'll find on the internet. And that's because it's part of the Level Up English membership. So lots of people come there, support the podcast and help me keep going, but also hopefully they are able to join the group classes as well and learn with me. So at the moment, I've been teaching for a few years now on Fridays. So if you're free on a Friday, UK morning time, then maybe you want to learn with me too and practice your conversation skills with the other members there. It's one of the most fun parts of my week. It's the funnest part of my week, and I really do enjoy it. So if you are interested in that and talking about some of these topics together, then you can become a member at levelupenglish.school and then click on the members button at the top of the page to find out more. There'll also be a link in your podcast app in the description if you want to just tap on that link. But yeah, so I think this was a fun topic to talk about in the class, and hopefully it will be fun to listen to now as well. And to begin, I think we can talk about some common facts, some common things about dreams that you may not know. So in the class, I was asking everyone different things about dreams. So one thing you may not know is that some people dream in color and some people dream in black and white. I found this really interesting, and I don't know if you're like me, but when I think about it, it's actually quite hard to tell if it's color or black and white. I'm not sure, maybe for you it's really obvious, but for me it's not really easy to remember, because I suppose it's happening in your mind, you're not really seeing anything. So, I don't know, is it possible to see color in your mind without using your eyes? Like if I ask you to think about the color red, can you do that? I mean, I can think about an object that's red, but I can't think about the color red on its own. But I don't know, maybe that's just how my mind works. Maybe I'm a bit different. Because apparently, according to many sources online, 12% of people dream in black and white. 12%. So not many. The majority apparently dream in color. I suppose that means it's quite vivid. This is a good word we can learn, by the way. If something is vivid, I believe it comes from the Latin kind of to live, vivid. It's kind of like realistic. It looks very clear. It looks colorful and bright and easy to see. Vivid. If you have vivid dreams, it looks like real life, basically. If your dreams are not vivid, it kind of looks like a really old, low-quality video, right? And that's kind of what mine are like, to be honest. My dreams, I think, are black and white. I really can't see much color. They're very, what's the word? Grainy? I suppose grainy might be the opposite of vivid, where it's like you're watching a really, really old movie from like 100 years ago that doesn't have a good picture quality. So my dreams are not clear at all, and I don't know what that means, but it is interesting. And they also say that you forget about 90% of your dreams. I don't know how often we dream, but it seems like we dream most nights, as far as I could find online. But we forget most of the dreams. And yeah, they slip out of your mind so easily. I don't know why. But I heard a really interesting podcast recently. This is a good recommendation. It was on the podcast Feel Better, Live More. And it was episode 458 called Why You Dream. Really good podcast, by the way. If you're interested in health and healthy living, healthy lifestyle, and maybe you want to hear some more British accents, I would recommend this one. The main goal is all about health, but the way they speak is usually very clear and easy to understand. So highly recommend that one. So yeah, I heard a few good things on that episode, really fascinating things on the importance of dreaming and how many people might think that dreaming is something we do just kind of by accident. But on that episode, they were talking about dreaming being much more important than we really think. And it's actually something really useful for the mind to do. However, it did kind of strike me as odd that the mind never really turns off. The mind never has a break. And maybe it's obvious for you, but for me, I never really thought about that before. How every second of the day, your brain is thinking about something, whether you are consciously thinking or maybe just kind of daydreaming and subconsciously. Sub means below, like submarine. Subconsciously learning or subconsciously thinking, I should say. So it's interesting how the brain is always working, and even at night, your body is resting, but your brain is still busy making up these stories, thinking about things that happened in the day. And many times we're not even aware that it's doing it. But I suppose that might be why when you dream, you have really vivid dreams for a long time at night, you might wake up feeling more exhausted than when you went to bed. And maybe that's just because your brain was so busy all night, you didn't really have a good sleep. I don't know what the science says, but that's how it feels to me. Anyway, I did use a good phrase just then, by the way, which was, it strikes me as odd. It strikes me. If something strikes you a certain way, that means it appears to you to be a certain way. It strikes me as unusual. Oh, it strikes me as odd. It strikes me as interesting. So that just means it seems to me that it is strange, right? You can use different adjectives, but odd is a very common one, actually. It strikes me as odd. Right? It seems weird to me, that means. It strikes me as odd that the brain never really rests. A few more things about dreaming here. So another one is people might dream in third person or first person, which is interesting. I don't know if you thought about that before. First person is from your eyes' point of view, just like your normal life. Third person is almost like you're playing a video game and you can see yourself move from a different angle, maybe from behind you. And honestly, I promise I'm not trying to be unique or special, but I think I dream a lot of the time in third person. And I don't know if that's because I have played many video games and it's just what I'm used to. But that is quite weird. Like when I'm dreaming, I can often see my body moving away from me. That's kind of a weird thing, isn't it? That it's almost like my brain and my body are not connected in my dreams. But I would be really interested to hear if any of you have the same experience. For any of you, are you dreaming in third person or do you dream in first person with your eye vision? Let me know in the comments. You're always welcome to join in the conversation. Now, this next one is really fascinating. I learned this recently and it kind of blew my mind. So another question I ask in the group class is, do you dream about people you know or do you dream about strangers? And some people might say, yeah, I dream about strangers. I think about people I've never met before. And then I would say, no, you don't. That is not true. Because apparently, for some reason, when you're dreaming, the brain is not capable of creating new faces. And this was a study done at Boston University, where they found that all of the faces you see in your dreams are people you've seen before. And it may not be someone you consciously remember. It may be like a face you saw when you walked by someone in the street just for 1 second. It may be like a really kind of background character that you don't really remember. And that kind of makes me feel weird, because that means every time I see someone in the street and they look at me, I might appear in their dreams later. Kind of a creepy feeling, isn't it? They may not remember me, but I might be in their dreams, just kind of walking by, or maybe I'll be the villain or something. But yeah, very weird feeling that. I guess the last thing I can say, this isn't really a fact, but I think a really interesting topic is talking another language in your dreams. I don't think this necessarily means anything special, but I think it can. It can. So in my experience, when you begin to dream in another language, it's a really good sign that you are progressing in that language and it's becoming more natural to you. I've had a few experiences myself where I have spoken Japanese in my dreams, where I don't remember what I was talking about, but it could have been something simple, like I was trying to teach a friend how to say something in Japanese, or I was meeting someone while traveling in Japan. I don't know. But I got the feeling that it was a really good sign, because it suggests that my brain wasn't working too hard to come up with these sentences, right? It means that you can kind of relax and still you're able to talk in your target language. So once again, I would love to hear how many of you have ever dreamt in English before, or you remember speaking a sentence in English in your dreams. Once again, if you haven't done that, I don't think it's a bad thing at all. We're all different. We have different brains. If you haven't dreamt in English, I don't think it's bad. But if you have, I think it's good. I hope that makes sense. But yeah, let me know your experiences. I'd love to hear. That would be cool. But okay, one other topic we can cover is whether dreams have meanings. And I want to kind of also think about dreams that I've had before as well, because I know some of you like it when I try to make them more personal and talk about my own experiences with these topics. And again, it's really difficult. I don't remember many of my dreams, but one thing I used to do, I went through a period of doing this in my early 20s perhaps, was I kept a dream journal. And there are a few reasons you might want to do this. One reason is because if you write a dream journal, which is where you write down your dreams and what happened, it might lead you to come to some realizations about the meanings behind your dreams. Because I think it's quite a common belief that people say sometimes your dreams can tell you something that you're not consciously aware of in your waking life. We can say your waking life when you're awake. So I guess that makes sense, because when we dream, the part of our brain that kind of controls the logic turns off, which is why many of our dreams get really crazy and strange. And when that happens, when the mind can flow and work without restrictions, I suppose it makes sense that you might be able to think of some solutions to problems in a really creative way that you're just not able to when you're awake. So I'm only really speculating here. Speculating means kind of guessing, but it sounds right to me. I wouldn't be surprised if that was true. So yeah, let me know if you also believe that dreams can have meanings. I think they maybe can, but it's nothing too magical. It kind of is logical and scientific, in my opinion, anyway. But yeah, anyway, the other reason why you might want to keep a dream journal is for lucid dreaming. That word lucid is a little bit like the word vivid, slightly different. Like lucid is kind of like awake and clear, and lucid dreaming is the ability to control what happens in your dreams. It's a very rare ability, but it is something that you can train to do. I've never done it, but I've heard it can be done. And I really wanted to try when I was younger. So I would wake up, and before getting out of bed, I would get out a little notebook and write down my dreams. And it worked really well. And I was surprised I was dreaming almost every night. So that suggests again that you do dream a lot. It's just the second you kind of get up in the morning, you forget it really, really quickly. One recurring dream that I always used to have was really strange. It was kind of a nightmare. You know, when you're younger, you have much more, more nightmares than you do when you're older. And they're often not that scary when you talk about them. But for some reason, in the moment when you're sleeping, it's terrifying. And one that I had was I was walking in my hometown and it was night, it was dark, it was scary. And I would see the silhouette. Silhouette is like the shadowy outline of a person. You know, when the light is shining behind them, you can't see who it is, but you can see the black outline of someone's body. That's called a silhouette created by light. So I saw the silhouette of not a person, but it was an alien. More specifically, it was E.T., the alien from the movie E.T., if you've seen that famous, I think, 90s movie. And he's got a very weird shape, a long neck and then a little kind of round head. Very weird shaped alien. And it happened in a few dreams. So I used that word recurring previously. To recur means to happen again and again. So if you have a recurring dream or recurring nightmare, it's something that you will experience on multiple different nights or multiple different dreams. So yes, occur means happen once. Recur means happen many times. Like means again. So it occurred, it recurred. Hopefully that makes sense. It's two good words to learn there. But my recurring dream was, walking at night and seeing the silhouette of this alien E.T. in the window, presumably looking at me. Wherever I went, there he was, looking at me. What does it mean? I don't know. Maybe there is really an alien watching me, or maybe I'm an alien. I don't know. What do you think it means? Maybe I want to go home. That was E.T.'s catchphrase in the movie, right? But I don't know. More likely, it just didn't mean anything, and I presume I was just a little bit creeped out when I saw that movie as a kid. I did have another dream that I remember vaguely. Vaguely is not clearly, it's the opposite of clear. I vaguely remember a dream that I had written in my dream journal. But what was really distinct about this dream is it was so clear and detailed at the time. And from what I can remember, we were participating in some kind of like challenge, some kind of event, some challenge. And it was me and a group of people from my high school, whom I hadn't seen for like 10 years or something. I really wish I could remember it clearly because I really feel like this is a dream that had some special meaning. Because they were really random people that I hadn't thought about in many years, honestly. And in this challenge, there was like a big arena, a big place where there were these turning circles on the floor. And when we all got in the right position, one of the doors would open so we could proceed to the next area. And I remember everything so clearly, like the numbers on the doors and the markings on these little turning circles, like every detail was so clear. I've never had a dream like that before. That was really weird. And it was very violent as well. So I don't know how many of you have violent dreams. I watch quite a lot of violent stuff, TV shows, horror movies, that kind of stuff. So I think it kind of makes sense that I see a lot of violence in TV and then it passes over to my dreams, especially when you're younger, right? I think it's more common to watch a lot of that stuff, perhaps. If one of us failed the challenge in my dream, let's just say it didn't end too well for the people who failed. It wasn't a happy ending for them. So, yeah, no idea what that meant, but it's something that's always stuck with me. I mean, not 100%, but to some extent anyway. I had a question, by the way, the other day of asking that phrase to some extent. And I often use that, but I always forget to really explain what that means because it's such a common one in speaking, in English speech. So if I say to some extent, that means to a certain degree or to a certain level. So if I say, I remember my dream to some extent, that means I remember some of my dream, but maybe not 100%. Maybe the extent, the level of my memory is 50% or 60%, right? So you could say anything like that I was happy to some extent, I was a little bit happy, but not totally happy. That's a really good phrase to use. So what I want to do now, which I mentioned a long time ago, which I have kind of been delaying, is talk about 4 common dream meanings. Maybe you've had them before, or maybe not. Maybe you'd also like to share your own in the comments, but here are the 4. I'll give you the dreams to begin with. 1 is being naked in a public place like work or school. That's a common one. Another one is losing your teeth. Next one is being chased by someone or something, running away from someone maybe. And the final one is falling. I think probably most of us have had a dream that we have been falling at some point. And maybe you woke up and realized that you had simply fallen out of bed. Have you ever had that? That happened to me when I was younger, and it was horrible. I dreamt like I was falling through the sky, and then suddenly I hit the floor, and I woke up and I was on my bedroom floor. So, very traumatic dream. Okay, let's go through these one by one quite briefly. If you have ever had a dream that you were naked in a public place, you forget your underwear, your t-shirt, whatever, very embarrassing. Apparently, according to a random website I found, this suggests that you feel like a fake, or you're afraid of showing your shortcomings. So it's kind of a negative one. It's you don't feel like a genuine person, right? You're hiding something and you're embarrassed when people can see the real you. The word shortcomings here, we can learn a new word in each dream. Shortcoming is something that you're not good at, or an area of life where you can improve. One of my biggest shortcomings, perhaps, might be not thinking of good examples to words when I'm talking, like right now. My brain not working quick enough, that could be a shortcoming of mine, right? So if you feel like you have a lot of shortcomings and you don't want to show people, it might come up in a dream about being naked. I don't know. What do you think about that meaning? Does it seem plausible? Does it seem realistic to you? Let me know. Or maybe you have another interpretation, another meaning that you might like to share, another idea. Okay. The next one, teeth falling out, especially as an adult. Maybe as a child, it might have different meanings, but if you're losing your adult teeth, this is a traumatic event that might suggest you're worried about losing your attractiveness. So it's something that we all worry about at least once when we get older. We lose our hair, we get more wrinkles, things like that happen, and we worry about it. And oftentimes, these worries come in our dreams. They appear in our dreams, but sometimes in slightly ambiguous, confusing ways. So one of these might be teeth falling out, because that is not a good sign. And it's such a scary thing to have teeth fall out because they're so permanent until they're not, right? So that would be a traumatic event. Traumatic is something that is very upsetting or shocking. It causes you trauma, upset, shock. So what do you think about that one? Teeth falling out, losing attractiveness. Does that meaning make sense? I think it might. I've never had this one, but one that I used to have a lot, which is kind of ironic now, is I used to dream about losing my hair. This was before I lost my hair. I still have some. Many of you may not know that I used to have very long hair for a couple years in my early 20s. I had long hair. I loved having hair. It was always really fun. And I felt like, as many of us do, especially men, you associate hair with youth, right? If you have nice hair with a good hairline, you have that connection with being young and youthfulness. And I did used to have dreams that people would come and cut my hair, and I'd be like, no, don't do that, don't cut my hair. And I guess the reason might be because I was anxious about getting older. But like many things, now that I am a little bit older and I don't have much hair anymore, it's actually not a big deal. I don't really care. So a lot of our worries that we have don't turn into much. We worry about nothing most of the time. Anyway, the next one is being chased by a thing or a person. This apparently could mean that you have a problem you are afraid to confront. So your dream may be reminding you to overcome these fears. So I guess what this is saying is you are running away from your problems. That's what the dream is suggesting. And I guess that makes sense logically. You're running, you're being chased by this big thing that you don't know how to solve. And this dream is a nice reminder saying, hey, there's a problem here. I'm reminding you, deal with it so you can relax more. If you confront a problem, to confront, this verb means to deal with a problem or face a difficult situation. So if you have to confront a problem, it might come up in your dreams in a weird way. Right, that's one. The final one is falling. Do you have any idea what this could mean, a dream about falling? Well, according to this website, this might suggest that something in your life is not going well. Your dream may be urging you to rethink a choice or consider a new direction in life. Right, so this, again, kind of makes sense to me that if you're falling, it's a sign or a signal that you don't have control over something. You're falling, you don't control where you're moving, you can't do anything about it. And it's a really powerless feeling, right? Feel like you have no power. So, yes, something isn't going well in your life and you lack control over the situation. So your dream may be urging you to rethink. To urge, another verb, is a feeling that pushes you to do something. If you have an urge to do something, you feel like pulled towards something. Like, I have an urge to record a podcast today. I don't know why. I just feel like I really need to. It's my urge, a strong desire to do something. So again, this is kind of saying your dreams might be smarter than you think, and it's reminding you to reconsider a choice that you're making. But yeah, I don't know. I can't honestly remember having any of these dreams specifically, but let me know if you have. Let me know if you've had a similar one, and let me know if you think these meanings match up. Maybe you dreamt you were falling once and it matched up to a stressful moment in your life. But okay, I think I'll leave it there for today. I do hope you've enjoyed this topic. I would like to say a quick thank you to some people who've been kind enough to leave a review, and then I've got a quote about dreaming to end on. I actually also have an audio message that I want to respond to, but I think I'm going to do it next week when I have a little bit more time. So wait for that next week, I think. But for now, let's go to Yes Pa 97 from, well, we're going to find out where they're from. So they said, I just want to say thanks to your efforts and gentleness to create this wonderful podcast. It helped me to improve my speaking skills. The way you speak is so soothing. Thank you. Greetings from Mexico. That's Mexico, right? That flag? I believe it is. So thank you very much, Yes Pa. I'm glad you feel like your speaking skills have improved from the podcast, and I'm glad you found my voice soothing as well. Today it's feeling a little bit sore from all the talking, so at least it sounds good, hopefully. That's nice to hear. Another one from Brazil, and the user is Heloisa88. And they said, a huge thank you from Brazil, teacher and Professor Michael. I am Heloisa, a senior meteorologist, and your podcast helped me a lot. I enjoy listening to you, especially when I'm feeling too rushed and accelerated. Oh, here's another nice compliment. Your voice transmits calmness and peace. It's much more pleasant to learn English when I'm relaxed or having fun. Congratulations on your commitment to helping people learn this amazing language. That's so nice. Well, once again, thank you for your compliment. I used to hate my voice when I was younger, so all of your comments really make me feel good. And you are totally right as well that learning anything is so much easier when you're having fun and when you're relaxed. When you're stressed and bored, which is the opposite, we're not going to learn very effectively, are we? So, yes. I think I'll do one more now because I've got a lot of amazing reviews. This is a quick one though from France. And this says, "Hi Michael, thank you for all the work that you provide. It helps me to improve my English. Merci from France. Yasmin." So thank you, Yasmin. Very kind of you. I would like to say merci just back to you. That's a very nice review. So thank you for the 5 stars. A few more really nice reviews to read next time. For now, I think I'm going to leave you with a quote by Brian Tracy, who said, "The distance between dreams and reality is called action." What action can you take today? Let's leave it there. Thank you for listening or watching. Really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye. You have been listening to the Level Up English podcast. If you would like to leave a question to be answered on a future episode, then please go to levelupenglish.school/podcast. That's levelupenglish.school/podcast. And I'll answer your question on a future episode. Thanks for listening.